Hi, welcome to The Point of View. The Point of View is your favorite current affairs program on television. On The Point of View, we pick the right topic, we bring the relevant guests and ask some relevant questions. And as we always say, we leave you with some useful insights. Tonight on the program is a big conversation, a raging conversation on what the Electoral Commission intends to do in respect of the upcoming limited voter registration exercise. There have been some dissenting voices. The NDC appearing to lead the pack. The CPP and a few others have spoken against the Electoral Commission's intent of using the Ghana card as a sole identification document for that process. Tonight, that is what we have on our discussion table. We will delve into that with the relevant guests as well and bring you some insights. You can join the conversation on our WhatsApp line 0550-585832, 0550-585832, and we'll read your views to the rest of the world. My name is Selorm Adonoo, sitting in for our regular host, Bernard Avle. I'll take a short break, return, introduce my guest, and we'll have the discussion started. Don't worry. You're welcome back. So as I did say a few minutes or seconds ago, tonight's discussion is on the Electoral Commission and its intention of using the Ghana card as a sole identification document for registration for the purposes of compiling the voters register. The NDC, being the largest opposition party, has some misgivings about that. We will interrogate those misgivings. My guests tonight are the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, the Venerable Johnson Asiedu Nketia. General, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
I also have Dr. Serebour, who is the Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission. He joins us via Zoom. Hello, Doc. Welcome to the program. All right, so Dr. Quaicoe will join us shortly. But let me just set the context for tonight's discussion. The whole discussion really is on the right to vote, and the Constitution provides us that opportunity or that right in Article 42. And Article 42 essentially says that every citizen of Ghana of 18 years of age or above and of sound mind has a right to vote and is entitled to be registered as a voter for the purposes of public elections and referenda. Indeed, this is taken from the Constitution, and as we know, the Electoral Commission by Article 51 develops constitutional instruments that regulates the conduct of elections. And the current one we have is the Constitutional Instrument 91, and Regulation 1 of that constitutional instrument seeks to break down this particular constitutional imperative into little steps, if you like. And it says that 18 years and above is a key requirement. It also says that being of sound mind is a key requirement. Being a citizen of Ghana is another. And being resident or ordinarily resident in an electoral area and not prohibited by any law enforced from registering as a voter is another. So Article 42 has been broken down into these pieces for easy comprehension by the people of Ghana and people who are supposed to be following the law. When we go further, we realize that the same constitutional instrument now goes ahead to tell us what we need as evidence of identification, before we can register to vote as Ghanaians. So we are dealing with CI 91, as I did state earlier. Now, the conversation is about the Electoral Commission's intention of repealing this or introducing another CI in the place of CI 91. And so for CI 91, you need either a passport, a driver's license, a national identification card, an existing voter's identification card, or one voter registration identification guarantee form as set out in Form 1 of the schedule that has been previously. We had the CI 12, then we got to CI 72, and between CI 12 and CI 72, the national health insurance card was one of those identification forms. But by virtue of the Abu Ramadan case, Abu Ramadan and Evans Nimako versus the Electoral Commission and the Attorney General, the Supreme Court struck out the National Health Insurance Scheme's card as an identity document for the purpose of registration to vote, because the discussion generally was that that ID card did not specify whether you were a Ghanaian or not, and so could not fulfill the citizenship requirement of the process. And so we did that in 2014 also. Now in 2016, the same two people, Abu Ramadan and Evans Nimako, again went to court versus the EC and Attorney General to, amongst other things, ask for the expansion of all those who use the NHIS card as a basis for registration to be expunged, to expunge those names from the voters register, so that in compliance with Article 52, I think, the compilation of the voters register will become a credible document we can use in running elections. So now the EC is back to Parliament, and it has submitted yet another constitutional instrument. And in that constitutional instrument, all these ID forms that you just saw on your screen have now been scrapped, save the national ID card. So the CI presently before Parliament says that the only identification form for the purpose of registering to vote in a public election or referenda will be the national identification card, which we call the Ghana card. So the CI is presently before Parliament, and the way it works is that the Electoral Commission, as a constitutionally created body, in developing its regulation, must take it to Parliament. It will lie in Parliament for 21 sitting days. Parliament cannot really do much about it. Once the days count and we have 21 days, it passes to be law. Parliament can only touch it. In fact, Parliament cannot touch it. The only thing Parliament can do is either to accept or approve it or reject it. It can only reject it on the basis of the fact that portions of it are inconsistent with the Constitution, or the fact that there are provisions in that document that imposes tax or other, pecuniary mandates on the people of Ghana, which will be in contravention of Article 174 of the 1992 Constitution and a few others. So, as we speak, we will find out from the Electoral Commission how many days this particular document has spent in the House of Parliament. When that is done, the CI will be numbered. You can see question mark on the document on your screen because we don't know the number yet. So this is the Public Elections Registration of Voters Regulations 2021. It will become 2022, I'm sure, and the CI number will be stated there. So this is where we are now. Now, the National ID card also has a regulation. We call it the LI 2111. And what the LI 2111 does is to tell us what the purpose of the Ghana card is. And amongst many other uses, we have registration of voters. So there you have it. We call it the mandatory use of the national identity card. That is the heading we have in the law. So the national identity card issued to an individual shall be used for the following transactions where identification is required. So we have for application for an issuance of a passport, application for an issuance of a driver's license, opening of individual or personal bank accounts, purchase of insurance policies. We have some, but our purpose or our interest today lies with J, which is registration of voters and payment of taxes as well. And as you may well know, which is also a discussion in the public domain, registration of SIM cards. So this is what the NIA law stipulates, that the NIA card, or the Ghana card as we call it, will be used for the following. And registration of voters is part of it. So that is the elephant in the room, and that is why we have invited our two distinguished guests here today to help us appreciate what the concerns really are. So, General, once again, welcome to the program. Now, the law is clear that the Ghana card or the national ID card must be used for the registration of voters. And indeed, the courts have said that the process of registering to vote is an important one, and we must not contaminate that process. What the EC is doing, is argued, is to ensure that the voters register we have now is better and more credible, and that we want to rid it of any attempt of putting in people who do not qualify. This certainly should be a good thing.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to viewers again. The arguments from EC supporting this move, there are contradictory arguments all along. First of all, absolutely nobody is saying that the use of Ghana card for purposes of registration and the others that have been stated is a bad thing. But the law is very clear that the individual then becomes the means of identification for the purposes of registration. What about if it has not been issued? Does that individual have to suffer because he doesn't issue the card to himself? It is somebody's responsibility to issue a card to him. And they are saying that once the card is issued to you, it then becomes the means of identification for all these things. The problem we are faced with is that you want the individual who should be a beneficiary of the issuance, but who has so far been denied the issuance. You want that person to suffer by way of disenfranchising that person. And so nobody is arguing about the purpose of the card once it has been issued. We are saying that once it has not been issued, why do you make people who don't have the card suffer? So that's all.
But General, the elections are not today or tomorrow. The elections are some 2 years away. And the NIA has said that yes, it's a continuous process. Every day they register people. And so perhaps the projection is that by 2024, all eligible persons should be registered. And so that then will put paid your concern that some people could be cut out.
Are you talking about projections or reality, what we have? The law should be made in consonance with the situation as we have it now. Because it doesn't lie in the power of Electoral Commission to direct what NIA should do or should not do. If it is Electoral Commission that is actually issuing the Ghana card, then we can say that, well, they are committing themselves or they are undertaking to complete the process before the law is implemented. But we are talking about two separate independent institutions. Okay? NIA operates under a different leadership. That leadership is could be political. Electoral Commission is supposed to be an independent institution whose leadership ought not to be political. So if Electoral Commission is demanding that we are making this law so that every Ghanaian should use a card, and the issuance of the card is not in the hands of the Electoral Commission, and yet we are saying that, oh, let us do the law and hope that by the time we get to 2 years, 3 years, everybody will get. What happens if everybody does not get? So now, are you going to amend the law? Because I heard Dr. Serebour somewhere indicating that if we get there and everybody doesn't have, then we will think about amending the law. But we are saying that, look, put in this safeguard. If it happens that NIA is unable to issue the cards, then there is a safeguard. Okay, as many as those who don't have the card can have a way of registering so that they are not disenfranchised. If it happens that by that time everybody has the card, nobody suffers anything. The fact that you have that provision in the law books and nobody is using it, it doesn't hurt our elections in any way. So who suffers if that alternative means is provided just to take care of those who may not be having the card by 2024? How does it hurt the Electoral Commission, or how does it hurt anybody in our elections?
But, so why is the NDC the only, major party so concerned? Because their thinking is that the NIA process is not discriminatory. Every Ghanaian that appears is registered and issued a card if that Ghanaian or that person qualifies. Why is the NDC worried? Is this something we don't know?
We are worried because the NIA process has not achieved its targets as we speak now. If you have a situation where the backlog of 18 years and above had been cleared, and then you come to a normal situation where anybody who turns 18 can just walk to NIA office and pick a card, it is at that point that you can then kick in the mandatory provisions. But you still have a backlog. By the reckoning of NIA itself, we are having around 2 million people who are 18 years and above who still don't have the card. You understand? So why should you take a position that has the likelihood of disenfranchising as many as 2 million people? The margins of electoral victory in this country have never gone beyond 1 million. So if you are putting in a system that could disenfranchise as many as 2 million, 3 million people, it means that whoever is making the law is the one choosing a president for us, and not
those 2-3 million people you say. They are not just NDC people, all NDC people. They are people evenly spread across the various political parties. So it's a bad thing for them to be disenfranchised. That is wrong.
Yes.
But everybody suffers a bit, if you like. Why is the NDC the one, sounding, the alarm or appearing to be crying the loudest?
So why do you think that 3 million of Ghanaians should not participate in the choice of leadership?
That's not given, because the EC, the NIA is in the process. It's an ongoing process. So the EC has said that they are sure that by that time, everybody would have had
that argument is dead. You cannot make a law based on assurances of somebody. That cannot be a good process of making a law. You put your hand on what the reality is now. And we are saying that if the likelihood of the 2 or 3 million people getting the card is a projection, so why wouldn't you put in some safeguard in case the projection doesn't turn out to be as you expect? Then there's a safeguard to deal with the shortcoming. And you are rather closing all the safeguards and banking your hope on somebody's promise. Democracy doesn't work that way.
But what
so we are saying that, look, first of all, whether they are NDC people or non-NDC people is bad enough in a democracy where you have 3 million people out of less than 20 million, 3 million people not having the opportunity to participate in the election. That is clearly unconstitutional when you look at Article 42 of the Constitution. That is one thing. Number two, the Electoral Commission and the ruling party, by their own projection, by their own admission, are saying that those who have not been registered are likely to be NDC people.
Oh, they said that?
Yes, they said it.
But
McMahon said it somewhere. Electoral Commission also.
But won't you blame yourselves? Because in 2018, you told your people not to register.
Let me tell you.
And indeed, you signed a statement.
Do you accept that they are likely to be NDC?
No, I don't know. I've not heard the EC say.
So
the
why
EC,
are you placing blame now?
No, but your difficulty is that a lot of your people.
It is not my difficulty. It's your difficulty of understanding the situation.
I likely disenfranchised. And I'm saying that we could have scaled this if you had not asked your people not to partake in the exercise in 2018.
That's why I'm saying that. Granted that I have asked my people not to participate, then therefore those who have not participated are NDC people. Do you agree on that?
All right. I would think.
Well, no, I want an answer.
Not necessarily, because I'm sure as you are here.
Then it means that it is not my press conference that has affected anybody.
Your press conference had no effect on your people. Is that what you're saying?
No, you are saying that I should be blamed for making that press conference.
No, but you should take part of the blame as well.
When I do a press conference, who are more likely to follow what I direct?
Your people.
So if you are saying that those who have not been registered, they are not registered because of my press conference. So the 3 million people, who are they likely to?
I'll take a quick break. I'll take a quick break. I will return to you, but we'll also go to the EC. Dr. Serebour is on the line. We will return from the break and then talk to him. This is Point of View. Don't go away. You're welcome back to the Point of View. My guest tonight is Asiedu Nketia, General Secretary of the Opposition National Democratic Congress. And on Zoom is Dr. Serebour Quaicoe, Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission. Hello, Doc. Welcome to the program. Hello, Dr. Serebour. Yes, you're welcome to the program. The discussion really has been on the fact that we had a good election in 2020. The register was generally credible. Why has it become so necessary to introduce this new mandatory requirement that before a new person registered to vote, that person must only come with the national ID as the sole identity document?
Thank you very much, and good evening to my anchor, and good evening to your listeners. Anybody who followed the 2020 registration will attest to the fact that there were a lot of confusion at the various registration centers. And after we have compiled the register, there were a lot of challenges to the validity of the registration of some people. And as the law allows it, we had to establish district registration review committee at the various polling stations. And this committee is made up of our district officer, who is the secretary, then a traditional ruler, a rep of the district police commander, a rep of district director of education, and representatives of the various political parties. So this committee will have to sit a number of days to listen to those who did the challenges and those who were challenged. And some of them will lead to fisticuff and a lot of issues. So whenever we do registration, the tension that comes up as a result of establishing the identity of the applicants with respect to their citizenship and their age. So the Commission, as usual, did our review of the elections and the activities for the 2020. Then we decided, as part of recommendations from the various stakeholders, to roll out the continuous registration so that we will no more be setting aside some few days to do registration. And in order not to transfer the conflicts from the registration centers to our district offices, then the Commission decided that why don't you come out with the most credible way of identifying Ghanaians, which is the Ghana card, so that we're able to reduce the possibility of non-Ghanaians and underage people registered. So that is what the new CI is seeking to cure.
I see, but the NIA has said times without number that given how they operate, they cannot guarantee that, everybody would have been registered before the next election. And Professor Atifa has said so on many occasions, especially in respect of the NCA's SIM card re-registration matter, which we can transpose to your case as well.
I think you are correcting yourself.
Yes, but of course, if I could just finish, the NCA required that we did the SIM re-registration with a Ghana card, And the NIA said that was a difficulty because they've not been set up like that. They could not work with those timelines. You are also, it's a similar thing you're doing, using the the NIA card as a sole identity document. I don't think it's different. Only that in that instance, the NIA was responding to the NCA because that was the matter and issue at the time. So the two are not significantly different.
Okay. Can I speak now?
Yes.
Yeah. With respect to the NIA response, the NCA has given them a deadline of September, just this month. And they were saying that by the figure that they are supposed to cover, they can't use the 1 month to cover all these people. But the assurance they have given us, which you can also verify, is that by the end of this year, they will be able to address all the challenges that are confronting them. So if they are able to address them this year, we still have the whole of 2023, and from 1st January to the 7th of October 2024 to register whoever is qualified to be registered for them to be included onto the register. So the difference is that whereas the NCA has limited time, the registration has more than 2 years to go. And once they are rolling out control registration, now they said that they have opened up 291 registration centers. Electoral Commission will open up 267 registration centers. And we have more than 2 years to get a Ghana card and to register. So there's a difference between the challenges relating to the SIM card registration and the registration of voters.
Yeah, but the issue is, as we speak now, from NIA's own data, they have only issued just about 15.8 million cards as of August 30. And we know that even for 2020, the voter population was way more than this. It's likely to go up. Why do you want to box yourself in this tight corner? Why wouldn't you put an exception or a clause in this particular regulation you are seeking to pass through Parliament that in case the NIA is unable to complete its exercise, the following ID forms could be used? I mean, not in so many words. I mean, the legislative drafters will do it. But there should be, you don't agree that there should be an exception, to this general rule? Because the way it's been captured in the CI before Parliament, it makes it, the sole identity document. And it shuts out any possibility of using another document. The fear is that the NIA may not complete the exercise, and then you will have to find a way of coming back to amend it, which will make it messy. Why don't you fix it now so we see the way clearer before us?
So the question is, let's put the figures down. I think you all agree that we are not compiling new voters register. So we are not talking of registering all Ghanaians. Statistically, we are to register up to October 7th, 2024, 1.8 people, approximately. That is given that everybody who turned 18 years will register. So are we saying that the NIA is so challenged that they cannot use more than 2 years to register 1.8? Is that what you are saying?
No, it doesn't work like that, because it's not as if the 1.8 people are somewhere.
The next issue is
if I could just conclude this. It's not as if the 1.8 people you talk about are somewhere waiting to be registered. They are mixed up with everybody else. So if the NIA has, let's say, 10 million people more to register to complete the cycle, the 1.8 million people will not be singled out from this mass group and registered for your purposes. You get my point? So it's likely that if they are unable to get through, they will be disenfranchised, and that is a problem.
Now, have you also looked at the fact that the NIA registered people from 15 years, and that the 1.8 that we are saying that they will be qualified to be registered, some of them might have already registered? Have you also considered that?
Yes. And
so we are looking at limited number of people. And the NIA has given the assurance that they will be able to capture or address all the challenges by the end of this year. So once they do that, we have more than almost 2 years to cover everybody.
But
I don't
see,
think we should.
Yes. What's the difficulty really?
But the difficulty is
putting
that
an exception, a clause in this law, which makes it possible for people who, for whatever reason, I mean, not their fault, are unable to register, to get captured by any of the other means, passport, it could be even a guarantor system. Why is it so difficult to do so? You know, I'm sure once this exception clause is put in there, it will resolve the difficulties and concerns that civil society has had, which the NDC and even the CPP have had. How difficult is this?
So, if you are bringing the other forms of identity that you are talking about, then what are we seeking to cure? Because I've told you that it is because of the abuse in the usage of the guarantee system that we are bringing the CI to restrict it to the Ghana card. So if you are bringing these clauses that you are talking about, then what are we seeking to cure with the new CI?
But we are not ready. As we speak, we are not ready because I know there is even the district assembly elections before the national elections. So what then happens to the people? What then happens to...
I said that they said...
Go ahead.
I would have wished that we're giving you information. You also try to link up with NIA that this is what the Electoral Commission is saying, that you can cover everybody before the time that they will complete our organization for the district level election, which will happen latter part of 2023, then the general election latter part of 2024. So the discussions that we have had with them, this thing we started more than getting to about 2 years ago. So it's not that we just woke up one day and decided to roll out these issues. So it has gone through a lot of discussions, a lot of interactions, a lot of stakeholder engagements before we came up to this conclusion. Well, and you know, in this world, we always want to strive to achieve the best. That's why every time after election we do review and we do reforms. And if you are reforming, you have to plan. Planning is based on projections. So we cannot continue to be doing the old things that we have always been doing. Then we should have moved from away from the opaque ballot boxes to transparent ballot boxes. Because somebody was saying that we have used it for the election before. You use it, you identify the challenges, you try to address them, and you move forward. When we finish the election, 2020, if you followed, there were a lot of complaints at a particular constituency. When we finished, we had complaints that some foreigners had infiltrated into our system. We arrested 5 people, 5 of them were jailed. Then 54 people within 3 days submitted their cards to the Ghana Police Service that they were deceived into registering. We believe that we are compiling registers for Ghanaians, for them to vote for Ghanaians. So anything that we can do to flush out unqualified applicants, minors and foreigners, Ghanaians should give us the support to do that, so that Ghanaians will vote for Ghanaians.
Yes, I mean, it's laudable, and I'm sure that's where we all want to go. I mean, a very credible voter register, even though we were not sure we can have an utopian system, as the Supreme Court has said in one of the cases. But the difficulty is you are seeking to base the law on an uncertain future. The law, as far as we are concerned, must be certain. As we speak, we have a lot of people who have not been captured. And we are seeking to restrict that by just saying that it is the NIA card that can be used. That is a difficulty. You mentioned the fact that you've had discussions with a lot of people. Civil society organizations have raised concerns that they've not had enough stakeholder engagement on this. I'm sure the NDC and the CPP also have similar concerns. So what's the level of stakeholder engagement you've had on this? And what has been the result, or the outcome of those engagements?
It is raining heavily here, so if I don't hear you well, then it's because of the rains. But the issue is that when we talk of IPAC meetings, IPAC involves representatives of the political parties, representatives of the civil society organizations, and representatives of the development partners. And anytime we hold APAC meetings, these stakeholders are involved. And as I said, we have been deliberating over this for almost 2 years now. So a lot of stakeholder engagement has been done.
I see. So, hello, are you there? Next
I'm
year
hearing you.
is district level elections. It's a district level elections year. Are you giving us the assurance that we will have all persons registered before this district level elections?
By the discussion that we are convinced that anybody who is qualified to register and is willing to register will be covered, because that's why we are doing continuous registration, unlike the previous period where people could be disenfranchised. Because those ones, we only set aside some few days to do the registration. And all those who come outside the days that we have set will not be registered. This time we are opening it up. So we will continue to do registration. Anytime you get your card, you go there and you be captured. So everybody who is qualified to be registered, we are convinced, and is ready to register, will be registered by the NIA and the Electoral Commission.
So how about, of course, you say the NIA is giving you some assurances. How about the NIA comes to you tomorrow to say, well, we promised it, but unfortunately, we are having some supply chain difficulties. Our materials have not been delivered to us. And because of that, there will be a delay, or, I mean, the timelines we've given you will have to be relaxed a bit. Meanwhile, your timelines have been fixed. What then will you do? Will you now go back to Parliament to seek to amend the law? What will you do?
We are doing continuous registration. And we believe that the challenges are bound to happen and the challenges are bound to be addressed. So from what we know and from the discussion that we have had, there's no way they can stay 1 year without addressing their challenges. In that case, then they will not be fit for existence. So we believe that whenever we also do is that we have challenges, but we are able to address them. If we take 2020 registration, we did 6 phase exercises. And the first phase was so difficult, confusing, and the rest. By the time we moved to the second and third, we were not even getting people to register. So I can assure you that people will be registered. By the end of the year, you yourself will know. So let's get there and everything will be addressed.
Very, very well. You kindly hold on for me. I'll come back to you. So General, he's seeking, or he sought to give some assurance.
I want him to answer the following questions.
By end of next year or into the following year.
It says by the end of this year.
Yeah, a lot of
all the challenges
generally will be addressed. We don't have a perfect system.
With the NIA would have been cleared. Mm-hmm. Why is he not waiting till the end of the year to pass the law?
No, because I mean they have things to do and they cannot.
No,
wait
what are the things? It takes 21 days to pass the law. Mm-hmm. If he believes that the NIA will deliver by the end of the year, if by January they have delivered and you put in the law will mature by the end of January, and then you are good to go. The only election that will happen subsequently will be the district assembly election. So if he or if the Electoral Commission believes that NIA will deliver, clear all the obstacles by the end of the year, we are 3 months or so.
And it says it's a continuous registration.
No, I understand. But continuous registration can start February and can continue to 2024. What would they lose? Number 2, what is their opinion about the existing register? Is it credible?
I think he's answered that.
He hasn't.
No, he answered that from the beginning.
No, he hasn't. Let him ask him again. That the current register, is it credible? Or that one also contains the names of foreigners?
No, what he said was that after every election, of course, he said he can answer for himself.
No.
All right,
let him answer that question.
Dr. Quaicoe, I mean, your uncle is asking a few questions.
The name is Quaicoe, not Quaicoe.
Quaicoe. Apologies, Dr. Quaicoe.
Yes, fortunately, my uncle is an experienced person we have been working with. And every step that I mentioned, he knows. So what I said is that the register is credible, but we have to go through a lot of stressful days to clear the people and the confusion and those things. That's what we want to avoid. So it is not easy getting it as it is. So if you can avoid the confusion and difficulties, why would you do that?
So if you have been able to go through a process to get a register made up of 15 million people cleared, and made credible, what will be your problem if every year you have to go through that process to make sure that the 450,000 is projecting are also credible and added to the register?
Can I answer that?
If that is the only way,
yes, you will.
If that is the only way of ensuring that 3 million Ghanaians are not disenfranchised.
All right, Mr. Quaicoe, Dr. Quaicoe.
Yeah, what my uncle is saying is like saying that you got malaria, and because you were cured by the malaria, allow yourself to be infected by malaria again. So if you can prevent malaria, avoid the mosquito bite.
But Doc, if you are trying to exclude non-Ghanaians, and that process will exclude 3 million Ghanaians.
Okay, where are you getting the 3 million figures from?
We are talking about, please, we are talking about NIA's own data.
NIA start from 15 years.
Yes, that's why I'm saying.
His data is 1.8 million.
And that was the 70 million also that have been registered, 50 million that have been registered by NIA. It contains names of people from 15 years to 19 years.
Yes.
15 years to 18 years, who are not eligible to register. So if you take their raw figure of 15 million to be those who have been registered, you are likely to get it wrong.
But I said their projection is that about 1.8 million people would have joined the register by 2024. That's their projection.
Correct.
They currently have a register.
And I'm saying
and
that
the projection that 1.8 million people will join.
I am saying that NIA has registered a certain number of persons. Okay. And there is a backlog of people who are already 18 years and above. In fact, if NIA had cleared all the 18-year and above, and they have to return to those who are now entering the 18-year brackets, then you are safe to use their data or their cards, you see. But here we are. The backlog is what we are talking about. It has not been cleared. Not to think about people who are now entering that age bracket. So they need to clear that backlog. And I'm saying that the backlog is more than what Dr. Serebour is projecting, because he's just basing his projections on what NIA has registered and what is left to be registered.
No, but we have the census data, so we know
exactly.
We know how many people are under 18 or maybe 16, 17 now.
Yes.
Who will be 18 years by 2024.
That is
that's the projection.
That is what we are requesting. Look, if you have the census data, then you can know from NIA data that the census data of 18 years and above is say 20 million. And then the NIA data is say 17 million. But the NIA data contains under 15 years. So when you take the 15 years to 15 to 17.9 or whatever out of it, then the number you get will represent the actual number of people 18 years and above who have the card before you can subtract it from the census data. The way they are doing their calculation, it doesn't give the real figure. And again, I'm asking him that the possibility of foreigners registering, what will be the highest number of foreigners who can join the register? What will be that highest number of foreigners?
So,
and if, because all the worst projections we have had was from Dr. Baumia when he claimed that 77,000 Togolese have joined the register and so on. So whatever happens, you are talking about, in the worst case scenario, under 100,000. So in an attempt to exclude, say, 100,000 non-Ghanaians, you are actually excluding 2 million Ghanaians who qualify to
Dr. Quaicoe will respond
to that.
Dr. Quaicoe will respond to that, whether that's a good thing or not. He'll respond to that. We'll take a break. return and conclude the discussion. Don't go away. This is a point of view. Read your messages as well. Don't go away. You're welcome back to the point of view. We're looking at the Electoral Commission's intent of using the national ID card as a sole identification document for voter registration towards election 2024. The NDC is unhappy with that. They have some strong misgivings about that, and the General Secretary of the party, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, is here helping us understand some of their concerns. Dr. Serebour Quaicoe, Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission, is still on the line. Doc, so this is a new CI you have before Parliament. What else, apart from the national ID card requirement, is in this new one? Because the thinking is that if this is just a new thing we have, you could have gone straight away to amend just that portion of it. So why do we need an entirely new law for just this? Tell us some of the new things in this particular new CI you are seeking to pass.
Yeah, I wanted to make two statements before I address your issue.
Okay, quickly.
From the statistical service, approximately 450,000 people turn 18 every year. So if we, from 2000 to 2020 to 2024 will be 4 years. So we multiply the 4.8, so 450 by 4, then we got the 1.8. So the figures of 3 million, the rest, I don't know where the figures are coming from. Again, as I said, there's a problem we want to address. They want to look the same problem and bring it to the new CI. Then it's better if we don't even talk of the new CI.
Yes, so apart from the ID card problem, what else is a new CI seeking to address?
I'm now coming to a point.
Okay.
We are rolling out continuous registration. The Commission intends avoiding periodic registration, where we set aside some few days for people to register that if you are not able to register, you are out. Again, going forward, we want to avoid the wholesale registration that we have been doing, that we do away with our register and compare new registration with the tension associated. For all elections that I know, conflict starts from registration. But that is where people feel that it has been voted, some unconfidence has been brought. So we want to start eliminating these challenges that can affect our registration. So we want to roll out continuous registration, which will be less expensive as compared to the current one, than the Ghana card that you are talking of. Then again, we are also collaborating with, it is also in the law, we're collaborating with the birth and death. So what they will do is that periodically, quarterly, then they will compare the names of all disease names. Then they will give them to us. Then we will then use the process to quarantine the names, put them on exceptions list for people to go and confirm whether they are diseased or not during exhibition periods. Because one of the challenges that we have been having is that we are not able to delete the names of diseased persons. So with these processes in place, we'll be able to, once a while, update and clean the register. So these are the three main issues that we want to introduce into the new CI.
I see. The former chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Farajan, recently raised some issues. And one of the things he said was that, of course, he also addressed the issue of the NIA. He said it was a recipe for chaos because a lot of people in his view were going to be disenfranchised. He also said that you are planning of introducing 2 registers at a polling station. Is there any truth in that? So we have the electoral area register and the constituency register. And it says that would give room for ballot stuffing and overvoting.
I always say that when you make decisions based on available information that you have. I have my respect for my former boss. He recruited me and trained me. So I believe he didn't have all the information because if I read the write-up, he was referring to new compilation of register, and that isn't what we are looking for. If you look at all the CIs, CI 91, CI 74, the same courses are there. That there will be electoral area register and constituency register. What it just means is that if you are going to do district level election, you use electoral area register. In other words, the polling station constituting the electoral area will have a register for that particular electoral area. So it doesn't mean that there will be one book. But if the electorate has about 10 polling stations, then there will be polling station 1, polling station 2 up to 10. We put them together. That gives you the electoral register. So the polling station will be independent, but we will have to add all the polling station figures to get the total number of registered voters in that electoral area. Then the same way, if you are doing parliamentary elections, we talk of constituency register. The register that will be used for Domi Kwabenya parliamentary election is different from the one that will be used for maybe Manshia register.
Very well.
So the constituencies registered are for parliamentary elections, and the electoral area registered are for this level election. It doesn't mean that we are putting all the registers together. No.
Very well. So am I getting...
And all of them were in the previous... See, we just lifted them. They are not new things.
Very well. So am I getting
so
from you...
Maybe you didn't get the right information.
Very well. Am I getting from you that irrespective of the concerns being raised by civil society organizations, some political parties, etc., the Electoral Commission will still go ahead and wait for the days to mature for this CI to become law, as it were?
When we get the results, whoever has a doubt or will come and tell us at the back that we have done a good job.
How old is the CI in Parliament? Parliament is on recess, but how old is the CI now?
We finished with the prelims before they went on recess, so we are yet to late officially before Parliament.
That's fine. All right.
But we are finished with the drafting. Attorney General drafted have also finished it, so it's not in good shape for it to be late.
Very well. So,
yeah, Doc. You are
Yes,
talking about statistical service data. That tells you the number of people who turn 18 in a year.
That is the projected figures.
And I'm saying that, look, even by the way the NIA has captured the names, you see that if they capture the register, the first 3 years, everybody who turns 18 would have had the card already. So those are not the people we are worried about. We are worried about those who are already above 18 who don't have the card. And NIA has not captured them. Because if the thing starts, if the things, the card issuance starts from 15 years and above, next year, those who are entering 18-year bracket would have been registered already. And then the following year, those who are entering would have been registered already. So we are not talking about those who are entering that. So if your projection is based on next year, those who turn 18, the following year, those who turn 18, you are certainly wrong. We are talking about those who are already 18 and above,
so Doc,
who
just
have
quickly,
not been captured.
The point is making is that number is certainly bigger because there are others who are above 18 who have still not been captured, but your projection does not include those people. Just in 30 seconds.
No, it's plus and minus. So whenever we do limited registration, you realize that those who are turned 18 and those things will be about 80%. So it's plus and minus. And we don't expect everybody who is turned 18 wants to register. So it's plus and minus. And you see, those who are above 18, most of them have registered. So the question we should even ask ourselves, how many are we as Ghanaians? And what is the percentage of Ghanaians that will constitute the voter population? So are we saying that we are going to, if you are about 30 million, how many people are qualified? So now that we are 17, if you register about 1.8, we are getting to about 19 million. So are we saying that 19 people are above 18 and 11 million will be less? So let's look at the figures.
Thank you so much, Dr. Serebour Quaicoe, for having time for us this evening. General, you have the last word.
Yes, I'm saying that all their projections are wrong. And again, if by their own reckoning, NIA will finish clearing all the backlog by the end of the year, then you better wait for the end of the year and pass the law, and then you still have 2 years to do your continuous registration.
Very well.
There is everything to suspect that they are not releasing the information that we need to know. They have a hidden agenda.
I see.
Yes, because look, this register, He's talking about the law concerning only continuous registration. There is no different law for continuous registration and a different law backing the register. Immediately, the existing register will have no legal backing.
I thought it would be safe under it. Because
It's not be safe. If you look at it,
there's a provision for it.
If you look at it, it's not be safe.
General, thanks so much for coming on our program. Dr. Quaicoe, thanks so much also. You at home and wherever you may be, thanks so much for joining us today. This has been our show tonight. My name is Selorm Adonoo. See you again next time. Stay with Citi TV. It's your world.
The Point of View is brought to you by Cowbell Coffee. Cowbell Coffee. Taste it, love it. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal. Happy smile.